It was a testament to what they believe I can accomplish and what it is that I was able to accomplish.
A certain orange-hued ex-president was not pleased with Jasmine Crockett's recent power maneuver. How did Trump react? Trump becomes less steady and more irritable. The shocking part, though, is that this viral moment may be helping her popularity rather than harming it. If you want to know what makes Jasmine Crockett unique, we're going to explain how her stunning comeback could change the game when it comes to political smackdowns. Okay then, I guess we can shift the conversation to the rising star who is making waves in Washington. The no-nonsense demeanor and lightning-fast comebacks of freshman Texas legislator Jasmine Crockett have been creating quite a stir. Unbeknownst to her, however, she was about to square off against Marjorie Taylor Greene, Queen of Controversy. Imagine the typical scene, a tightly packed committee meeting where every politician is dressed formally, with each one attempting to outdo the last in terms of seriousness and poise. On the other hand, today was unique. For those unfamiliar with the circuit, MTG stands for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was exhibiting exceptional performance. As if it were some sick Halloween treat, she was insulting people and making personal attacks as if they were party goodies. However, Crockett, nothing was going to sway her. Surely the Attorney General was meant to be the focus of the hearing? We were going to discuss Attorney General Merrick Garland, but instead she brought up Judge Merrick. Now that it's late at night, I'm unhappy because I've been here all day, ready to work, and you're still talking about that failed trial. Because most political newbies would have been a nervous mess and maybe even shed a few tears under that type of strain, I had to ask her whether she understood. Not Jasmine Crockett, though. Not at all. She appeared to be quite at ease, maybe thinking about what she would eat next, as MTG wandered off on one of her tangents. Her mind was busy, almost chattering, quietly plotting her next move. There was an extreme amount of tension in the room. It was that uncomfortable, nervous stillness when everyone is watching to see whether the newcomer is going to crumble under the pressure. Would her nerves start to fray? Would her speech be clumsy? Might even lose it? Not at all. On the contrary, Crockett pulled a stunt that nobody saw coming. She stared down MTG and unleashed a devastating bomb. Greene was the target of her scathing criticism, which extended beyond her ill-fitting body type to her bleach blonde hair. That was the time. Shock, restrained laughter, and even physical restraints from some individuals were seen. It was Crockett's political rap battle knockout, and he delivered. As if the stakes were much higher, it was like watching Mean Girls on C-SPAN. You couldn't even blink before Crockett's legendary clapback went viral on Twitter. From one moment to the next, she went from being a budding star to an overnight phenomenon. People, fasten your seatbelts, for the political soap opera was only beginning. Little did Crockett know that her enraged reaction would catch the attention of none other than Donald J. Trump. One thing we do know about 45 is that he relishes the opportunity to have a social media tantrum. All eyes were on him at that moment. Crockett's name had officially made it into the Political Hall of Fame. Her mic drop moment had been everywhere. Now we get to the meat of the matter. Is it really possible for a political newbie to become famous after a single vicious tweet? An overwhelming yes appears to be the correct response. Faster than you can say viral meme, Crockett's burn became viral in August. The lawmaker who had the audacity to ridicule MTG was the talk of the town among Grandma's Gen Z late-night hosts. Crockett was handing out clapbacks hotter than a Texas summer, making it seem like America's Got Talent without the golden buzzer moment. As expected, the internet delivered. Almost as quickly as Trump could make excuses following a bad hair day, the memes began to flood in. Two of them portrayed Crockett as Wonder Woman, swatting MTG's nonsense away with her sass-infused bracelets. The third recast her as host of Roast Battle Congressional Edition. My favorite, though, was the one that compared MTG to a bottle of Clorox with the caption reading, "Spot the difference." I'll wait. The meme lords weren't the only ones, though. Many famous people joined the Crockett bandwagon. much like politicians who abandon a losing campaign. Out of nowhere, famous people who, only a week before, likely couldn't even name one congressman were making public statements in support of our cause. It was as if the shy, introverted student suddenly became homecoming queen. When it came to sudden stardom, Crockett's number of followers increased at a rate that Trump's blood pressure at an all-vegan restaurant couldn't keep up with. She goes from being a freshman legislator to having more followers than the whole House of Representatives in an instant. I can't believe Twitter didn't implode under the weight of those people trying to follow one other. Naturally, a lot of people are curious about things that become viral. All of a sudden, everyone was curious in this clapback queen. Having a sharp tongue isn't her only tactic, she has many others. Crockett was a lawyer and activist who fought for real change before he roasted Marjorie Taylor Greene to a char. That is to say, she has been working hard even before this event went viral. She has spent her entire life preparing for this confrontation, and now she can add Sassmaster to her impressive list of accomplishments. This was no fluke. A fixation gripped the political sphere. It seemed as though time stood still in Washington. Who needs the boring old policy arguments when there's a Twitter battle going on that rivals the excitement in Game of Thrones? The likes of CNN undoubtedly had to get out their breaking news banner on an item unrelated to Trump for a change. Crockett ultimately succeeded where others had failed. Having a Wi-Fi-enabled phone, a fiery personality, and a quick mind can sometimes be enough to cause a stir in today's political arena, as she demonstrated. There has never been a more watershed moment in political smackdowns than this one. It appears like someone has finally chosen to log in. When Trump realized what was going on, he joined in with an equally unsubtle tirade, because he just cannot resist. This political feud quickly escalated from a Twitter slam to an all-out war. Our beloved former president must have finally gotten his little paws on a functional phone, for he went ballistic after being remarkably silent during the Crockett versus MTG duel. All of a sudden, there was more capitalization on the internet than a toddler's first try at typing. All you could hear in his Twitter diatribe was empty rhetoric, like a human volcano erupting. An adolescent girl's journal would be proud of it. It was a textbook example of bad social media behavior. It was as though his caps lock key became stuck, and he chose to roll with the punches rather than fix it. Angry outbursts might have been an attempt to regain people's respect. Like a bull in a china shop, Trump wasted no time getting into his personal insults. He insulted Crockett by calling him a freshman with a low IQ, probably because it was the finest insult his huge brain could think of. He keeps using the same tired insults, as if he were playing insult bingo. The true killer, though? Trump even went so far as to suggest that Crockett was showing disdain for Georgia. Wow. Coming from the man who attempted to coerce Georgia officials into reversing election results, that is quite the statement. Assaulting someone for littering when you're busy destroying a forest is a perfect example of this. The level of irony was so high that it could be put on bread. This one was a boon to political scientists. They pointed out Trump's tried-and-true deflection strategies as quickly as you could say fake news. It's as if he were playing a game of 4D chess, but the victim card was his only move. The hilarious part, though, is that Trump's tantrum actually increased Crockett's popularity rather than diminishing it. Everything he tweets about becomes golden, as if he possessed a reverse Midas touch. Some people who were completely unfamiliar with Jasmine Crockett became her ardent admirers all of a sudden. Suddenly, Trump's disapproving stamp was the most sought-after endorsement in town. Jimmy Kimmel had a blast, and other late-night comedians were unable to resist. Like Trump's Twitter tantrum, his hair is out of control and in dire need of a competent stylist, he said. Oh my, that one hurts like a horrible spray tan. As it turns out, Trump's rant on Twitter was Crockett's lucky break. In the process of trying to make his assistants vanish, the magician inadvertently saw himself cut in two, creating an eerie spectacle. Alternatively, being burned by Trump used to be a political death sentence, but it was then. As far as careers go, Being criticized by Trump is like earning a promotion. It's like when a reviewer who exclusively criticizes wonderful restaurants gives a one-star Yelp review. All of a sudden, everyone wants to go there. And wow, were folks interested in seeing Crockett? People began to talk about her. A lot of people who weren't into the original MTG conflict began paying attention now. The message became increasingly evident as it was passed down, making it feel like the most bizarre game of telephone ever played. Crockett went from being a rising star to a national name all of a sudden. Hey, did you hear about that new congresswoman who made Trump lose his marbles? No one anticipated coming how this entire incident became a political narrative twist. It was unexpected, little awkward, but strangely fun to see Republicans supporting Crockett. It was like seeing your stuffy uncle, who loves Fox News, suddenly break out into a TikTok dance. Many in the political sphere couldn't help but wonder if they had entered a parallel dimension where allegiance to a certain party was suddenly subjective. Did the political difference begin to shrink at this very moment? Nevertheless, Crockett was determined not to miss out on this incredible chance. She continued to spew her vitriol and served more burns than a 4th of July Texas BBQ restaurant. It was like I was witnessing a tennis match reenacted with a sledgehammer instead of a racket. Trump, in his usual reckless but ineffective fashion, acted out the part of the sledgehammer. Politicians and media critics devoured it like a frat party pizza. They weren't only entertained, they were astonished. By changing the laws of political communication, Crockett was doing more than simply conquering the internet. For some, she became an icon of strength in the face of political bullying. They said she had figured out how to transform adversity into opportunity by fighting fire with laughter and standing up to bullies. This was an example of successful political strategy in action, not merely a Twitter battle. Imagine a master class from how to win friends and influence people, but with a chapter on slapping your opponent so hard they'd need aloe vera instead of tips. That's how it felt. Crockett benefited greatly from Trump's outburst, rather than only surviving it. Instead of bothering to carry a slingshot, David just snatched her Twitter account and a microphone and set to work, while Trump was engrossed in tweeting. It was like David facing Goliath. Over here, Crockett was changing the rules of the game. No one ever told me that a strategically placed zinger may be more effective than a political action committee. Politics used to be all dull platitudes and hollow promises, but those days are quickly becoming a thing of the past. Trump and Crockett's spat wasn't a fluke. It may have been the first chapter of a new political playbook. She didn't succeed because of her wealth, her political connections, or her willingness to play it safe. Rather, she used her humor, not the scripted kind that politicians approve of, but wit that could cut through the Washington nonsense faster than anyone could say fake news. What mattered more than being funny, though, was being authentic in a world where politicians are plastic. In a room full of senile old farts, Crockett's sincerity was a welcome change. The public's reaction was unexpected, even by her harshest detractors. At a campaign event, they weren't only listening, they were devouring it. No matter your feelings about Twitter, it is undeniable that social media has revolutionized the way politics is conducted. Politics is being fought out on this platform, which was formerly only a place for late-night rants and breaking news. A new kind of communication is emerging, one that is quicker, sharper, and more unexpected than the old prepared speeches and press releases. It's as if we've moved up a notch from slow chess to fast chess, and some of the more traditional politicians are still attempting to decipher the intricate moves. But Crockett isn't one of those people. She and others are out here playing 4D chess, while Trump is confined to using the same stale slurs. The bar for politicians to use social media for both humor and policy-making has already been established by figures like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. A generation raised on memes and lightning-fast online arguments has connected with their ability to blend political discourse with clapbacks that go viral. It goes without saying that not everyone is a good fit for the modern political climate. If you don't recall any of Ted Cruz's internet comedic endeavors, it's because they were as memorable as his time spent opposing Trump before eventually becoming one of his greatest fans. The internet may be a cruel place for people who struggle with political wit and fail to become proficient. Some political scientists have hailed this change as the most positive development in politics in decades, while others have warned that it is just as risky as granting Trump access to the nuclear codes. In an era when confidence in politicians is at an all-time low, they all believe that comedy, when used skillfully, can cut through the cacophony like a hot knife through butter. A well-rehearsed speech lacks the value of spontaneity and rapid thinking. According to one expert, Crockett has proven that being genuine and clever may win over people more than having huge funds or making hollow promises in today's digital age. Her ability to utilize humor has also helped her establish herself as a unique voice in politics. To rephrase, having a lot of oranges is less important than being witty and genuine. Is this a fad that will soon fade away? Or are we actually seeing the development of contemporary politics? That is the more pressing issue that this change begs. Is a well-timed joke going to have more sway than a well-planned economic strategy? And viral moments are going to take precedence over policy proposals? The days of politicians taking great delight in delivering lengthy, in-depth addresses on matters of policy and administration may be fading away. We should probably wait to rejoice until we know how this will affect political debate going forward. Will zingers, rather than well-reasoned arguments, decide discussions in the future? It would be easy to mistake this for a real-life "whose line is it anyway?" when the points are irrelevant and everything is fabricated. A growing number of politicians may try to emulate this humorous, social media-driven approach, according to political experts. Would you be surprised if Mitch McConnell tried stand-up comedy? My goodness. Though the use of comedy in politics is on the increase, not everyone has what it takes to be chief comic. Politicians run the danger of pushing too hard, which may lead to an avalanche of embarrassing dad jokes that land flat, even though people enjoy a good clapback. Like seeing your uncle's clumsy TikTok dancing performance at Thanksgiving, it's best to let the pros handle it. All this attention on social media burns and viral events is worrying, but the real worry is that it can overshadow the important but less showy conversations about policy. The problems that keep Americans up at night, such as the expense of healthcare, housing, and salaries, are not solved by having an opponent taken down quickly. Yet this makes for a fantastic soundbite. Finding a way to keep people interested without making politics become an endless comedy show is a difficult balancing act. You want some veggies in there, but you also want it to be appetizing enough that people don't go for junk food. It's like trying to make a healthy meal that tastes nice. Politics as an entertainment medium is nothing new. John F. Kennedy's telegenic charisma, Barack Obama's natural oratory skills, and Ronald Reagan's Hollywood glitz are just a few examples of how charismatic leaders have historically had an advantage. However, this is all different now that we live in the social media era. These days, all it takes is one internet sensation to make or break a politician's career. A well-crafted tweet has the power to eclipse months of policy effort, while a bad soundbite has the potential to derail a whole campaign. Politicians' ability to craft an internet-friendly message has surpassed their actual platforms. There has been a dramatic change in the political climate. The capacity to make a pointed comment may soon be as important as having relevant expertise, understanding policy, or being a good leader, according to some experts. Presidential debates risk becoming more like roast skirmishes if the current trend continues, with candidates sniping at each other rather than offering answers. In this hypothetical political arena, a candidate's capacity to deliver a deadly one-liner would be more important than their agenda in determining their electability. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who started this entire thing off, now has the problem of demonstrating that she's more than simply a viral hit on Twitter. Maintaining her political momentum will require her to strike a mix between serious policies and her cutting humor. Like a circus dancer juggling fiery torches, she risks the entire tent going up in smoke if she loses her balance on policy. The strain doesn't appear to be getting to her yet. In addition to her comedic timing and internet fame, she is a respected lawyer and activist who has spoken out strongly on behalf of social and economic justice causes, including affordable housing. As her fame grows, though, the true litmus test will be her ability to turn online attention into tangible political impact. We are approaching a new age as voters where political advertisements may begin to resemble Netflix comedic episodes. Will we be captivated by the most recent internet sensation, or will we continue to pay attention to the finer points of government? It is easy to be captivated by the spectacle in a political arena where rhetoric frequently takes precedence over actual policy. Nothing can hide the fact that Crockett is causing a stir. It's more than simply shade. She's changing the game for how politicians engage with the people. She's demonstrating the importance of being genuine, which is especially noteworthy in this digital age, when nothing can compete with a well-timed joke. Whether you view it as a welcome shift or a worrying trend, you can't deny that she has made C-SPAN a popular channel. Others view this as a necessary progression, a response to a society where interaction is paramount and attention spans are short, while detractors contend that politics is devolving into nothing more than a glorified roast fight. Perhaps the ability to wit is the new political superpower in this age of memes over campaign speeches. Ultimately, though, wit isn't a sufficient governing factor. Although it may sway people, a viral moment cannot legislate, finance schools, or construct roads. The next challenge, after Crockett's impact, is to channel that energy into tangible political reform. Is she going to be a new political voice or merely another passing fad on the internet? Her next move will determine it. Whether you're rooting for Crockett or disapproving of the current political climate, one thing is certain. The level of attention has skyrocketed. Strap on and take it all in. The sass isn't going away.